huh. Yeah. You gotta choose your side. You gotta choose your side. It's do or die. Uh-huh. I said it's do or die. I said it's conflict in all areas, nigga. You choose the side. You could win or you could lose, nigga. It's do or die. Energy don't lie, it just testify for what they saying. I just look them deep into their eyes, going against the God in me. Now that's suicide. Higher self, higher level, higher wealth. To move like this, you gotta put your pride upon yourself. They say money is power, but knowledge way stronger.
Yeah, what you say is true. The Shaolin and the Wu-Tang could be dangerous. Do you think your Wu-Tang sword can defeat me?
They say money is power, but knowledge way stronger. My soul pure gold, so I live way longer. My mind think righteous, yeah, my bloodline chosen. My energy is positive, words unspoken, I'm so illuminated. I shine brighter than Illuminati. Walking on water, now they really know I'm God body. Gifted from birth, so the life I face is hard body. Had so much love in my heart, they had to apply pressure. Now I'm a fine diamond, yeah, said I'm a fine diamond.
Shadow boxing. And the Wu-Tang sword style.
No matter how hard they try, I found myself in divine timing. Now they follow what I say like my name Simon. Led the chosen ones to victory in divine timing. The time is near, the signs are clear. 144, activation is here. We rise in the vibration with no fear. Oh, the Thundercats we all hear. And now it just don't seem fair. It just don't seem fair.
Hey, welcome. Let's do a quick roll call here. Let's see what we have. New followers. Uninformed woman. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. What do we have? Sean Bruce. Okay, I believe that's a relative. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Nesta Tosh. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, come on in the room. Come on in the room. Right, I believe that's it for my followers.
Uh-huh.
Here
Yeah.
we go. Let's kick off another episode.
You gotta choose your side. You gotta choose.
Hey, welcome. What's up, family? What's up? It's your girl, Jazzy Wanda, back in the house with another episode. You're gonna need to lean in for this one. That's right. This one's gonna start right now. It's called Healing Isn't Pretty, but it's worth it. That's right. Healing isn't pretty, but it's worth it. Because you know what? Let's keep it real. Healing isn't soft music and scented candles. You know what it is? It's crying in silence. It's facing demons you thought were buried. It's messy. It's raw, but it's necessary. Absolutely necessary. Let me tell you something. If I would have not allowed myself to heal or to position myself to be healing, because not for nothing, some of the things that have transpired in my life started over some 30, 40 years ago. So therefore, it's not going to just heal overnight. It's a process. It's a necessary process. And see, this episode is for the ones that may be still in the fire. That's right. You still in the fire. You still dealing with situations and circumstances that may be plaguing you or stopping you from moving forward in life for the things and desires and the dreams that you may have. The ones who may still feel broken, but you keep showing up. Because that's exactly what I did. I kept showing up. Even though, in spite the fact that I was broken, I still showed up. See, the ones that know healing hurts, but still chooses it. Even in my journey today, as I navigate through life, if I am in definitely a different place than I was years ago, I'm still in the processing of healing. So guess what? See, I had come to a place where I was tired of pretending. That's right. So if you're tired of pretending, you're okay. If you're ready to talk about the real stuff, this episode's for you. This episode isn't for the ones who've already arrived. See, though I may appear and I sound like I have arrived, I am arriving. I'm just going to keep it real and raw with you. I am arriving. There's multitude of situations and circumstances that I have been through, that I am still going through. So the healing process isn't a one-time thing. It's not a shot in the park and it's all over with. It's a process. It's healing is for the ones that are still crawling through the fire because, as my title says, healing isn't pretty. No sleepless night and crying tears and puffy eyes absolutely is part of the healing process. But you know what's the strange thing about healing? You would never believe it. It's holy. The reality of it is, if we're still here breathing and we're still believing, we're proof that pain hasn't won, isn't winning. So guess what? Welcome to Let's Talk with Jazzy Wanda, where tonight's episode is definitely about healing isn't pretty, but it's definitely worth it. Because I know that I wouldn't even be able to sit here tonight if I hadn't been moving through the healing process in my life. You too can move through the healing process. You too should take a look at some situations and circumstances that may be holding you back, that may be plaguing you from your past, that may be some things from trauma, some things from abuse, some things that you have put on the back burner, afraid to deal with. Time is not waiting on no one. Time is now. Time is let's move forward. Time is let's heal because it's worth it. See, we never mention when it comes down to healing that it's screaming in silence. That's right. When you're in a place in your life, a degradation place, a place where you're fighting to be better, to feel better, there's a lot of screaming going on in silence. The reality of it is, we're afraid to scream out loud. We're afraid to just take a moment in time and just say, and just let it out. A lot of people need to get somewhere allegedly in a corner and just scream. You'll be surprised what it'll do for you on the top of your lungs. Just scream. There's so much pain and trauma built up, bottled up within inside of us, you allegedly, that if you would just get yourself in a corner in a screaming match in a safe place and just scream, just let it out. Because healing is definitely screaming in silence. But I dare you to take on the opportunity to just scream out loud. You know, you be frustrated about a situation or circumstance, and because you feel like it might make you sound, look, feel crazy. I'm gonna tell you one thing, it isn't gonna make you feel crazy. It's definitely gonna give you some relief if you just shout it out. Tears, crying. There was nights that I prayed with swollen eyes and trembled hands. And the thing about crying is you must, if you find yourself when you're coming into one of those crying matches, it's safe. Sometimes we feel like if we cry, we're going to go overboard in our mindset, because some crying can take you over the top if you don't realize that it's okay to cry and it's safe to cry, and crying is healing. It was a wonder for me when I found out that crying was healing. Boy, so when I found myself in a place where I just wanted to cry, or something came up in my thought about something that I had been through, or something that I was going through, or something that was hurting me, or something that bothered me that warranted tears, because basically that's what crying is when you get to a place where something has bothered you so that it brings upon a sadness upon you that makes you just want to bawl. It makes you want to cry. But it's okay to cry and it's okay to scream. But it's important to keep the mindset that it's okay. Because, you know, sometimes we get into those crying matches where we, and if we're not careful in that, that's why, in the part where I say it's okay, you got to let yourself know that it's okay. So you don't get out of control with it, and then you don't go overboard or over the top in your mental, because you can be so caught up in the crying because you've bottled so much up that you've not allowed yourself to let go. And then when you get to the place where you can't take it anymore and you find yourself backed in a corner against the wall where you need to let it out and you need to cry, you get into one of them deep crying matches. And guess what? Yeah, it is. It's a thin line between sanity and insanity, allegedly. And you have to be careful, but know moving forward in your healing process that it's okay to cry, and that healing is crying is healing. That's, you know, men shouldn't cry. That's another lie straight from the pit, from negative energy. Crying is okay whether you are male or female. And let me tell you something, any men tuning in, it's okay to shed some tears. It's best to shed some tears and let it go than to be bottled up and explode and find yourself doing something that puts you in a place where you lose your freedom, male or female. It's so important that you've got to shed and be in control of your emotions so that when something triggers you from some hurt or some pain or some trauma that has not been healed, you don't go over the top with it because you have not dealt with it. You have not cried. You've been told that you shouldn't cry. Men shouldn't cry. You got to be strong. You got to be this. You got to be that. Guess what? I was told that for many years. I was told that for many years. So I was running around a trauma ball with a lot of pain and a lot of abuse. That's why a lot of us find ourselves dependent on chemicals, you know. And not to get off tangent, a lot of weed smokers. I mean, they done got to the place where they telling you that weed is a medicine, and you know what? It probably is. I'm not going to get into what it is and what it isn't, because it is a plant, you know, if you want to go that route from the earth. But you got to be careful with this new medicinal stuff. Because I'm just going to keep it 100 with you. Anything that the government got their hands in, I don't know how real that is or how healthy that really is. You know, the natural plants that you able to grow yourself and you know that it's real and what's being put in it, then yeah, it could be some benefit on the health side. But psychotropics and street chemicals and all of that stuff. We find alcoholism, not alcoholism, but alcohol just the same. Those things become a crutch to us because they fill the void of the pain and the trauma and the abuse or the things that we have been through that we have not dealt with and we don't want to deal with because we feel like it's too painful to deal with. So we rather continue suppress it with whatever chemical choice of chemical we use. It could be coffee that you drink all day long. It is no different. It ain't isn't any good for you. That amount of caffeine isn't good for anybody. But that's why we find ourselves with these addictive personalities or these crutches of things that we become dependent on because we're trying to fill a void of not dealing or healing in the proper manner in which we should. Put the cards on the table face up and let's see what we're dealing with within the confines of our heart, our mind, and our emotions. See, I'm not even talking about physical. Now I'm talking about the abuses, the traumas. It's like peeling back the layers that you didn't even know was infected. You wonder why. You could be sitting at the job and somebody move a certain way or somebody say a certain thing that it irks you so. Because 9 out of 10 times it's probably connected to something that you have not dealt with from your past that needs some healing. Allegedly, a lot of us are infected beings running around this world today that have not dealt with situations and circumstances that could just be so simple to deal with. It's a wonder nobody could say nothing to us, you know. When if they taking too long in front of you online, it's a problem. A lot of that has to be dealt. It has to do with built up traumas that we have not yet found ourselves dealing with. Hey Jesse, I see you there. I see you, girl. I see you. Yep, I'm glad this is what you need to hear, but we all need allegedly some form of healing. The reality of it is facing the mirror and asking, who hurt me? You know, who hurt me? And then on the step to the side of that, who hurt me and I let them stay? You know, it seems like we as human beings have been positioned in life, and that's a lie straight from the pit, gullible for pain. See, it's one thing when you're a child and you're in the cares of your loved ones, your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your grandparent, whoever raised you, and some traumas happen to you there. It's really not controllable to you as a child as much as what you can do unless you go outside the home and tell somebody. Half the time when we're young and we go tell somebody, they don't want to believe us. So we have to allow these traumas to build up within ourselves as we grow older, undealt with. Excuse me, undealt with. But then we get in these relationships. Oh boy, that's a whole nother episode possibly, but I'm gonna touch on it just a little bit. We get with these relationships and they hurt us and they abuse us and they do things to us that position us to further from a child feel like we're not worth it or we're not worthy. And because we haven't dealt with the childhood traumas and we get into these adult relationships, we allow some of that stuff because that's the norm to us. So we feel less than, not worthy, not worth it. And we let some joker, whether you're male or female, come into your life with that foolishness because they're traumatized and they got a lot of stuff going on within their minds and their hearts and their emotions to subject that stuff to you because misery loves company. That's one thing that I try to be careful with dealing with in my relationships. I saw abuse. I saw a man putting his hands on a woman when I was growing up. That was something that I vowed to not allow to happen. Yeah, but I had one of those, absolutely one. Okay? And that's it. I never had a situation after that where someone put their hands on me that wasn't my parent and had no right to put their hands on me. And not that a parent has a right to put their hands on a child, just depending on the era that you was raised in. We're living in a time where now that's just not the thing to do. The corporal punishment is just not it because you'll find yourself with CPS knocking on your door. That's Child Protective Services knocking at your door if you try to discipline your child now. But back then, that's what we dealt with. That's exactly what we dealt with. You didn't behave yourself, you misbehaved, you got a whooping. But we as human beings got to be in a place where we must heal ourselves from our past traumas as a child so that when we get in these relationships, we choose healthy companions. And I know you said, well, how do I choose a healthy companion? Because 9 out of 10 times, if you're on a healing journey, then you're moving and you're thinking different about yourself. So you're not going to just allow anything or anybody into your life. And then when you see the red flags, you're going to move a little bit quicker out of it than to stay stuck in it thinking you can change somebody. Because let me tell you something, the only person in this world that you can change is yourself. The only person you can be an example to change is as a parent is your children. But to try to change some grown person is ludicrous. I'm talking about healing is definitely not pretty. No, it's not. Because even when we find ourselves in those relationships where we're getting beat on or they abusing us with words, we say we love them or we think we love them. That's some traumatic love, honey, that comes from when you were a child and the traumas that were going on when you were young. You believe that since it was happening to you from your loved ones, which is your mother or your father or your aunt or your uncle or whoever brought you up, that was status quo what should be. So when you get older and you get in these relationships and you find these things happening to you, or you think you in love, or you've been set up to be in love, and then they start showing their true colors after the honeymoon of the relationship, you stay there because you're afraid. You're afraid of facing the fact that you deserve better. You don't deserve to be treated wrong. You don't deserve to be beaten on. They're not your parents, they're your companions. And no companion has a right to whip on his woman or a woman whip on a man, however it goes, because it goes both ways in this day and time. This is just not a woman, man to a woman thing. We got some women out there whipping on men. But that's traumatized behavior. You got so much built up inside of you that's sending you triggers that you are to put your hands on the person that you're supposed to love. You think that's love? That's psychotic. That's crazy. That's insane. That's insanity. That's exactly what it is. And there's no way in the world I'm staying in nothing of the sort. Okay? And yes, I might say that, and I've been in one of them now. I'm not gonna sit here like I don't understand and I don't know, or someone just think that I don't understand and I don't know. Absolutely do. Okay? And you stay because you think that you can make it different, or you can make it better, or you can love them more and they're gonna stop doing what they're gonna do. And no, they're sick. Okay? And if they think that an adult that is not their child and they're in a companion relationship is their duty to put their hands on them, they need help. It's just that simple. They need help. And the only way you can help them is to get out. Because getting out is not only helping them, but it's helping yourself. Is helping yourself, and you have to know that you cannot be so traumatized to stay in a place to let a man beat on you or let a woman beat on you, that you stay, that you deserve that. That's low self-esteem and sick in of itself, that you stay. Is no sex that good? That's not genuine true love. That's a sickness. And by getting out, I know you're afraid. I know you're scared. But if you do all the things that is required in domestic violent situations, you too can overcome. The healing isn't going to be pretty. No, it's not going to feel good. There's going to be scars, but the scars can heal. The mind can heal. The trauma can be lessened, but you have to be willing to do the work because it is worth it. It's the peeling back of the layers because one would have to ask themselves. And I didn't mean to get stuck here on relationships like that, but honey, if you see the red flags, believe them. A lot of people allow themselves to be stuck 5, 10, 15 years somewhere and they're miserable and they're not happy. And they just have trauma built on top of trauma, just suppression, and that's where those diagnoses pop their heads up, called depression and anxiety, suicide, bipolar. You have to know that in life you're worth doing the work that it takes to deal with the traumas. And just because you're successful at things, just because you've been to college, just because you got a good job, do you know how many people work in places, work on you, work on me? allegedly, that have traumas that they have not dealt with. I gotta go there here, and I'm gonna go here. I don't care who like it or who don't. Listen, why do you think in the field of nursing and doctors, in my opinion, in my experience, allegedly, if I gotta say it, allegedly, some of them are the most rudest and cruelest jokers serving you, waiting on you. How you, the doctor, I'm the patient, I'm the sick one, and I'm coming to you for service, and you coming in there with an attitude and nasty and whatever. That's because they're dealing with past traumas, but they have been able to suppress and achieve, but they come out in their behaviors, in their hospitalities. Same nurses, just the same. Nurses, just the same. Teachers, just the same. You know, if we're going to be in what you call it, service positions, by all means, do the work you need to do for yourself so that you can be the best version of that service position and not treat people that are needing of your service and your help worse off than they've already been treated in life. You know, the unfortunate part is that kids go to school and you got these nasty teachers in there. They just in there for a paycheck, allegedly. No, if you're going to be a teacher, be a teacher. Come in there with a positive attitude. You're taking care of people's children for a certain amount of hours a day. Be an example of a productive citizen. It's a wonder that no children want to be teachers these days, allegedly. But you have to look yourself in the mirror and really get to the nitty gritty of why maybe you do this behavior or maybe why you do that behavior that you know that you could be better at or that you could do better in. You know, it just behooves me that a lot of professions have a lot of sick people holding them allegedly, and they're working on us recipients. And that's when we hear and we see that those type of people, allegedly, that have not done the work, but they take on these high, uh, what's the word I want to call it? High potent jobs that requires so much of them. And the truth of it is, they just have the book knowledge and maybe some skill set, but they don't have the emotions, and they have so much built up trauma that you find those are the ones that go over the edge, that go over the top, where we hear these stories about this military person blew up this doctor ran in the building and did this postal worker did this, because we're not dealing with our traumas, our past traumas. We're trained and told to be successful at no matter what and what at whatever cost. Put on the facade and go out there and be great. Be great, but ready to explode. I mean, it been times when before I had started doing the self work, before I had started really understanding that my subconscious hold a lot of pain and a lot of trauma, and a lot of my decision making was based off of things that were embedded in my subconscious mind. So that's why I reacted the way I reacted to certain things. I decided that if I was going to be in the field, the helps field, that I needed to deal with some of the traumas that I had embedded in me from a little girl, from as early as 5 years old, because there was some things going on to me as early as 5 years old that I wouldn't suggest you do to an animal. And you know we hold the animals in a real sacred place in life, sometimes more sacred than we hold humans. But I had to do the work because I was bumping heads. And I mean bumping heads with everybody. Bumping heads, trying to be a good parent. How in the world can I mask the mass of all this trauma, but yet be a good parent? Tell my kids to do this, that, and the other. And I yet can't do it myself because I'm hurting. I'm hurting. But that's the position we as humans are put in. Some of us have children and got no business having them. I know at the point in time when I started having them, I had no business having no children whatsoever. Even though my age was what my age was, you would have thought that I had all the partying out of me, all the whatever. But I had trauma. I was just dealing with addiction, getting over addiction, starting rehabs. What in the world? I did not need to become anybody's parent. But again, I thank God for it because it kind of, you know, put me in the mode of self-saving. Because if anything, now I have a human being that I got to take care of. And that's the part where I talked about that when you start having kids and you're not fully healed, or you're not have not started working on your healing, you get put on the back burner because now it's all about the child. It's no longer about you. So then guess what? That's where the generational curses crap come from, because we start putting all of that mess on them that happened to us when we were young. Or we operate from those traumatized places towards them. Even though we think it's loving and we're kind and, we're a good parent. And no doubt about it, not to knock anybody, because I'm quite sure that as when you have a child, most people allegedly, it's the most sacredest thing that happens for them to see another human being that they birthed, and they want to get it right and they want to do right by all means. But because you've caught up with so much trauma and so much pain, it's so hard to really accept the fact that I'm a parent now. And so while I'm positioning myself to be the best parent that I can be, it's okay to work on myself. It's the most importantest thing that I need to do so I can be the best parent that I can be. So that I don't find myself in no place where I gotta have CPS in my life, or foster care, or adoption, or whatever it is, when we have not been in a place where we have healed ourselves so that we can put ourselves in the position of a safe parent. Oh, I went down that rabbit hole. Yes, I did. I absolutely did. Because I wasn't healed and I was having children, and the traumas was because the emotions even run more rampant when you start having the babies as a woman. I can't speak for a man. I don't know what it does for a man, other than from my experience that some of the choices that I choose as dads, they just run off and it's not their problem. So they do their thing. It's not their problem. What's the saying? Mama's baby, papa's maybe, even though he know he's the papa. Oh my. But life affords us. So it's okay to peel that onion. It's best to peel that onion while you still have an opportunity to peel that onion, to deal with the yelling that may have happened to you, to deal with the maybe you had to stand in the corner, maybe you didn't get a whipping. If maybe you were sexually abused, maybe somebody did touch you inappropriately, maybe you had a nasty teacher when you was little in the classrooms, maybe you was bullied. They say a lot of officers, most of them allegedly become officers because they was bullied in life, and you gotta wonder if some of the behaviors of them is it comes out in some of the behaviors of some of the officers allegedly. And if you don't get to a place or get on the job of healing yourself or getting the necessary uh, help to heal. Because some of us need a little bit of extra help. You might need a psychotherapist. Because a psychological or psychotherapist is one that can't prescribe you medicine, or you need a psychiatrist, one that can prescribe you medicine, just depending on what your situation in your circumstances. But it's so important that you, if you know that you got some hangups and you know you got some things that's interfering with your ability to move forward in life, to be productive in life, do the necessary help unless you have an emotional collapse. I've had emotional collapses. Let me tell you a little story. I'll talk a little bit about my divorce. When I realized that I was losing the husband. My story is so crazy, so forgive me if the way I might put it out there, but because the reality of it is, in my opinion, I should have never been married. I told you I was married for religious sakes, okay? Trying to hide the fact that I was pregnant, so they said that we needed to get married. But that's not the part. Because at some point I began to love who I was married to, at least I thought, or the kind of love, because you got to understand, I was a hot, traumatic mess. And that's why I feel like I never should have been married. But when I realized that I was going through a divorce, for me, in the mindset that I was in at that point in time in my life, was that marriage is the most sacredest thing, and there's no way that you should break up. You got kids, you supposed to make it work no matter what. Even though I was a hot potato, I was a hot mess. He was supposed to hang in there. But guess what? Even though he may not have had the same challenges that I did, he was a hot mess too. So a hot mess was attracted to a hot mess. So that just created a fire. Okay. But then when the divorce, and I realized I was going to get divorced, you talking about an emotional collapse. I couldn't function. I remember that to this day so well. I must have been on the couch for 14 days. Wouldn't get up, wouldn't move, couldn't eat, couldn't think, couldn't function. Had two little boys running around the house, and God forgive me, I'm talking two little guys running around the house, fending for themselves half the time. And these were little guys, okay? I literally had to be admitted to a psych ward for 2 weeks because the emotional collapse because I never wanted to see my marriage break up. But I was so emotionally distraught that I couldn't be the wife that I knew that I could be or that I'm capable of being because I had so many hangups and hangups and hookups from my past. Having the babies set off in a hormonal, emotional, the postpartum depression thing. Women need some type of attention to that. It's serious. That's a baby that you do not want to negate or not give attention to. That's real. So one baby after the other, you go from postpartum to some more postpartum, and you go to deeper depression. You coming into the marriage already depressed because you're dealing with past traumas. You're trying to get off of an addiction. There's no way in the world anybody in their right mind should allow themselves to unite with anybody because you're not healthy. You just a TikTok mom. Is a wonder I didn't take everybody out. Because that's how messed up I was. Allegedly. If that's what I'm supposed to say. That's how messed up I was. I had that emotional collapse. And it was the beginning of the onion peeling. But not me. I didn't want to heal no onion. I didn't want to peel no onion. I had to medicate it because I wanted to take myself out and was probably ready to, God only knows, okay, allegedly take them out because I was distraught. I was devastated. All of that pain and trauma that was built up inside of me, and I thought I had found the love of my life. And, I had arrived. I was married. We in the ministry, we in the church. Oh boy, oh boy. A whole bunch of fallacies of life that they tell us is what we should be doing. And that is so not true. That is so not true. Okay? That's the lie straight from the pit. But I didn't give up. I didn't give up. So I had to deal. I had to deal with, for me, was one of the most, but now let me pay attention to this. So the divorce that I had to face was the same trauma that set me off emotionally as a little girl. Because when my parents split and broke up, oh, I was about 6 or 7. I thought it was the end of the world. My mother disappeared, never came back. We didn't know where she was at. My father didn't know where she was at. He had to keep working. We was left at babysitters from night to night. So think about it. Traumatized at about 6 years old from a split up. You might as well call it a divorce. Yet that growing up, that ain't gonna happen to me. I'm not gonna allow that to happen to me. But all the trauma that I grew up with, all the trauma that bubbled up inside of me, put me in the same position that caused me to lose my husband. And not the same situations and circumstances, but the same mentality, the same traumas, and no doubt about it in my mind, put me in that same place. Now you tell me healing isn't worth it. Putting the cards on the table, peeling back that onion, getting to the root of all of the negatives that have ever happened to you that should not have happened to you, that wasn't even your fault happening to you. But you're an adult now and you got to deal. Nobody to listen to, nobody understands you. Let me say this to you. Out of all of my dealings, your therapy, remember I just mentioned about psychological and psychiatric help. I definitely engaged in that. I think I might have been in therapy from, well, as I had mentioned in an episode, they had brought me to a psychiatrist when I was 13 when I got hit in the face with the bottle because that was the most traumatic thing that could happen to a pretty little girl such as myself that was wanting to be a model and an actor, and boom, my face gets distraught. But I believe that I was introduced to it at 13. And then I revisited it when I got married. because I was doing everything I thought I could do to save my marriage. But like I said, I had the monkey on my back because my trauma and my pain was so deep and so strong that I had to have that crutch, which was my addiction. But it's the sad part about it all is that that is the life of us human beings, that we all come to the table with something allegedly. We all come to the table. I don't care whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're middle class, whether you're over there in London, the king and the queen, even they got a whole mess of dramas. Everybody likes to hide everything. Everybody likes to cover it up. Oh, you can't know that about my family, and you can't know this. And that is because we live a life of lies. Because the facade has to be when we go out into the world and we take on these jobs and take on these assignments. Like I tell you, TikTok people with TikTok mentalities ready to explode, working on people's jobs. I'm so excited about the fact that healing made me confront generational traumas and the silence thereof. Because let me just give you this little scenario. A minister in the church, or an evangelist, or prophetess, or whatever it was that I was operating in. Okay. And let's just keep this in mind. And y'all know I'm big on this. Whatever you believe, it manifests to have the power to do whatever it is you believe it to do. So in that realm of religion, the facade, because according to everyone, I was anointed. I was anointed. And you know why I was so anointed? Because I had so many things that had happened to me in this testimony that I would give. Because, yeah, I was the little girl that was dragged by a train, hit by a trailer truck, lost my eye at 13, hair caught on fire, sustained 3-degree burns, sexually abused, and da 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 da. But I was unhealed, operating in that. And forgive me if I offend you, foolishness. Okay? Because you have no idea how many people are operating under those assignments in that realm, in that religion, that place, allegedly. They are not healed. And they're praying for people, they're laying hands on people, and we wonder why. And I did not know I was going here, but I'm just going to keep it real, raw, and relevant because that's what we need in this day and time. There's no power in the church because everybody's here is traumatized, sick, and laying hands on people and each other and have no power whatsoever. And not everybody, allegedly, to do so. And even if, like I said, because I was casting out demons and the whole nine. Okay, I would fast for 3 days and position myself to, because I believed in all of that. And like I said, if you believe in a thing, you can manifest it to do what it says that it's supposed to do, even if it isn't real, because your mind is the most powerful. And I don't know how I got off on this tangent, but I'm on it and I'm just gonna roll with it. Your mind is the most powerful vehicle inside of your being. Why, why are we allowing sick people to function and to operate in a place that's supposed to be a healing place? And that's a question for anybody that may ever see this video, okay, or this podcast, or tune into this episode. We got to do better to be better. There need to be some evidence of healing before you let people come in your establishment talking about they a preacher, pastor, evangelist, whatever. Because that's why there's no real motion of healing. What y'all say in the realm of the book can manifest itself. We just passing on traumas down to each other. But back to generational traumas, getting to the nitty gritty and the bottom of it, hurting your children. Like for instance, for me, now I've had some real traumatic times as a parent, as a mom, through my addiction. But I was always about it for my children. Even though I've had some trying times. But when I got to that particular place of healing regarding the addiction and putting it behind me or whatever the case may be, and even in the addiction, there were certain things that had been done to me that I wouldn't allow to be done to my son. You know, as a kid, you got to be quiet. You can't voice your opinion. You whatever they say goes. It could be wrong half the time, but you still got to do what they say. And they telling you to do something, and they not doing what they telling you to do. Don't smoke cigarettes, and they sitting there puffing away. Don't do drugs, and they sitting there. Woo! But it's worth it. It's worth going through whatever you need to go through to stop doing things that can hurt you, hurt the children that you're representing, and hurt the people that whatever your profession is that you're dealing with. It's so worth it. One of the things that bothered me growing up so man was making me eat something that I didn't like. Or you put it on the table and it could sit there and get cold as ice and they'll make you eat it. That was one of my hangups. So I vowed that I wouldn't, when my children didn't like a thing, if I had to make out, y'all hear me speak this all the time. I had to make a couple of different things, and I made a couple of different things. Because one didn't like peas and the other one didn't like carrots, so then he don't eat peas and he don't eat the carrots. I didn't make my children. That's thing they could say about me was eat something that they did not like. But there's so many angles of of your life. Allegedly. I know there's so many angles of my life that I had to come through the trenches of therapy, and it was helping me sort out what I was dealing with. See, because we live through our traumas and our tragedies and our situations, and we don't have anybody we could talk to. We don't know who we could talk to because we don't know who we could trust to talk to. Because you get a good friend and you try to tell them something, next thing you know, the next friend across the street know that ain't your friend, and the next one across the street or around the corner or your buddy that they don't know is your buddy. People are telling your stuff and they telling it in the wrong way, and it's not a way that's helping you in your healing process. So we live and keep it quiet and keep it to ourselves because we don't know who we can talk to. But I say, if you find somebody that can keep your stuff anonymous and that you can talk to them and they listen, or you don't mind, you can afford therapy because you got some things and some hangups that happened to you as a child and you just need to get them off of your chest, it's okay. It's okay. Because a lot of it is, we say praying is, listen, some of that is you need to talk and get it off of your chest. Okay? And if praying and you talking about what you're going through is praying, then so be it. See, because we expect, this entity called God to do so much, and we do nothing. We just waiting for the magic ball to drop on our head and fix us and, make us. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. I don't care how many times I've been up in front of some uh sanctuary pulpit or whatever you want to call it. The root of my pain wasn't the superficial prayers that they were praying and calling themselves prophesying and all of that foolishness, allegedly. Because again, half of them is walking with traumas and whatever else the case may be, living behind a system that I'm gonna stay away from that. Allegedly, I'm gonna stay away from that for now. But generational things like the alcoholism and the drug addiction, and that's another reason why I don't drink. Because my dad died of cirrhosis, his mother died of cirrhosis. So whether it's hereditary or not, I know that drinking was a problem with them. So that's a generational curse, in my opinion, that I'm not fixing to face. And I tell mines all the time, be very careful because it might skip over me and my brother. But you don't know what generation, third, fourth, fifth, that it might want to latch on to. So the best thing to do is don't do what I know could cause that, which for me was drinking, lying, telling your kids lies, lying. Uh, Unreal. The stuff that we do, thinking that it's the right thing to do, but yet we telling them not to do it. So I had to stop lying to myself and to my children. What do you think happens when, if they lie to you, you lying to yourself, then you lying to your children, to your children. They gonna lie to theirs, and then they'll be lying to themselves. Teach a joker how to face his realities so he can overcome his realities. You know, my kings will tell you, I come from a mighty long way. And like I told you, I'm a Bronx Harlemite. I'm a hybrid that came down to Florida calling myself to find some peace. And it was more peace than what I had dealt with in in the Bronx, in Manhattan. But they've seen the struggles. They didn't see the well. I don't know. They haven't. They know the stories. The rich little girl, the number banker's daughter. You know, the one that never could imagine that she would have found herself being strung out on any kind of chemicals. There's no way in the world that could have happened to me. But the reason that it happened, it was because of so much of the traumas that happened to the rich little girl. Boy, life will serve you so many curveballs, and if you not mind strong enough to around them curveballs and get to a place to realize that you need healing, then you're gonna be a mess in the middle of a mess. Not only as a mother, but as a grandmother, as a great grandmother. You know the funny part about healing, some people don't care to open those can of worms. Some people have buried it so much so that when they communicate, they snap at you. And they don't even realize that they're snapping at you. But that's because they choose not to deal with their past traumas and they bury them so much so that because they may be retired or that they have arrived, good job, good career, good whatever, but they operate from a unhealed place. I used to bawl out crying because I knew that some of the situations that I had found myself in, some of the pain that was so degrading to my soul, of the grapes and the sexual abuse that had happened to me, that had me bound by the drugs because of the shame and the embarrassment of the little girl, that the things that I went through and nobody I could talk to or nobody I could tell. And then when I finally was able to tell this one or tell that one or tell the psychiatrist or the psychologist, I had to live a facade through it all. Through it all. That's why I told you I was so never believing of that I can shake that monkey off my shoulders, that I would always be addicted to a chemical that would sabotage everything about me. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I may have overcome the addiction of drug abuse, but I still have addictive personality, and it's okay. Just like if this becomes addictive to me, as long as I don't allow it to interfere with my daily living, that I keep some moderation with it, then it's okay. If I get to a place where, oh wow, I like this and I want to come on 5 times a day and 10 times a day, and we gonna shut it down. That's just definitely, because that's not healthy. In my opinion, for me, it's not healthy. I don't have time to be on here 5 times a day, 10 times. I don't care how much money this could potentially make. This doesn't make sense for me anyway. But a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of bawling out, a lot of crying, a lot of episodes repeating themselves. Scenarios that you might see on TV might trigger something that happened to you. And sometimes it's okay, it's good, because if you have never dealt with it and it triggers something, then you can kind of deal with it if you're in a place of sanity, not on drugs or of the sort, then you can deal with it. And sometimes things pop up in my head to this day that I thought that were gone, were okay. I dealt with it. I got over it. I've forgiven this one. I've forgiven that one. But then out of nowhere, an episode of something so tragic that had happened to me. I was driving recently, and one of the episodes of when I was um just came in saying something. One of the oh, don't let me lose my thought here. Not right now. I don't got to lose my thought by that ring in my ear. How do I say it? Oh Lord,
Praise God.
that part. That
That part.
part. Oh. But it's all good. It's all good. It'll come back to me if it's meant for me to finish talking about it. It'll come back to me. But I so dislike when that happens. But as I was talking about, the episode came while I was driving, and such an horrendous thing had happened to me, and I thought, where did that come from? Because I, in my opinion, in my mindset, was healed of those things that happened to me. And you know what? It didn't bother me as much as it would have bothered me some years ago. So that told me that I was in a different space in my life with the traumas and the things that have happened to me in my past. But it kind of shocked me that that thing came up. Now, I wasn't watching no kind of show on TV for it to happen. I just happened to be driving and it came across my mind, and I was like, wow, and it is what it is. I thought it through and I let it go and I kept it moving. But part of healing is some of this stuff when you get in a better, and I guess because I'm in a safer mindset, in a safer space with myself, that it's okay for something like that to come up, because it may need to come up so that it can get out, come up and get off board. Because I believe that if I had been still in addiction, still traumatized to the extent that I had been in my life, and that would have happened, it would have just, might have took me over the edge or what have you. But that could be part of what healing isn't pretty, because things will come up out of nowhere that you supposedly had dealt with, or the onion that you have peeled back. And because the older you get, of course, that you carry this stuff, there's so many things that you've done or that you've been through that you have to deal with that you may not even have remembered. But the safer you get in your mindset, those things will, that's the onion peeling back, and it's okay. That's the onion peeling back, and it's okay. I'm gonna take a short, brief uh, break for a second to stretch, because like I told y'all, healing. I haven't even gotten to the physical part of healing, because on the crutches and the wheelchairs and the porta parties, and oh boy, that's another psychological place that it's been too many times. And I just pray that that part of my life is capiche, caposh. Be right back.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You gotta choose your side. You gotta choose your side. It's do or die. Uh-huh. I said it's do or die. I said it's conflict in all areas, nigga. You choose the side. You could win or you could lose, nigga. It's do or die. Energy don't lie, it just testify for what they saying. I just look them deep into their eyes, going against the God in me. Now that's suicide. Higher self, higher level, higher wealth. To move like this, you gotta put your pride upon yourself. They say money is power, but knowledge way stronger.
If what you say is true, the Shaolin and the Wu-Tang could be dangerous. Do you think your Wu-Tang sword can defeat me?
They say Money is power, but knowledge way stronger. My soul pure gold, so I live way longer. My mind think righteous, yeah, my bloodline chosen. My energy is positive, words unspoken. I'm so illuminated. I shine brighter than Illuminati. Walking on water, now they really know I'm God body. Gifted from birth, so the life I face is hard body. Had so much love in my heart, they had to apply pressure. Now I'm a fine diamond, yeah. Said I'm a fine diamond.
Shaolin Shadow Boxing, and the Wu-Tang Sword Style.
No matter how hard they.
All right, I'm back. I'm back. I had to stretch them bones, them traumatized bones. Yeah. Mm. I'm not sure if I talked about why we hide healing, but I believe I touched on it just a little bit. We hide it because we're ashamed of some of the things that we have been through, some of the things that we face. And we don't want anybody to know that we don't have a perfect world that we live in. We present ourselves perfect. But you ever encounter, and if you ever encounter me on a personal level, you can feel the genuineness and the authenticity of who I am, because it's no need to fake it. It's no need. I'm out of religion. I'm past that. You know, I like I said, my relationship is my relationship. My belief is my belief. I believe how I believe, and it works and it manifests for me. I have faith that's unbelievable, unshakable. So, I'm no longer programmed in the programs that they got going on out here. And I so heartily believes that my level of healing is at a place where I can help. And so if you're brought to me or through me or you pass me and encounter me, 9 out of 10 times is because your higher power or whatever you believe in brought you to me. Because one thing for certain and two things for sure, I'm going to help, or I can help. And if I cannot, I'm going to send you where you can get the help, be it whatever it is. But yeah, we hide our healing because, we're ashamed of what we've been through. We're ashamed of who we've become and the facade that we may have carried ourselves in for so long. You even get tired of faking it until you make it. It's like that's the most ludicrous saying. Fake it till you make it. Make that make sense. Fake it. So I'm going to fake it and I'm going to make it. No, that's why people never make it nowhere because they too busy faking it. No, just be who you are. Be who you are. You know, get the help that you need if you know that you come from a place of brokenness, a place of hurt, a place of hardship, a place of abuse. You know, watch the red flags of the people you deal with, because that triggers stuff inside of you. You know. Let's see what's going on over in the chat. I'm seeing some. Okay, I'm seeing stuff on. I think that's trouble. I'm hoping they can understand me, and I can't understand what their language says. But eventually, I will try to translate it. But welcome in the chat. Who all's in the chat? Welcome in the chat. T Stars the Greats in the house. All right, that's one of my kings. I was playing some of his stuff, some of his music. I have to pull up some of his music and let y'all hear it. On my next episode, I'll bring in some of his music. Jesse dropped off. All right, Jesse. But life can be rewarding if you do the work. If you do the work, it is so worth it to do the work, to talk about the pain and the traumas that have happened to you, put it out on the table, get it out of you, stop harboring it, stop holding it. It is so worth it. It is so worth it. Let's see what else I could talk about here and try to bring this to a close. I'm gonna save talking about physical healing. I might save that for another episode because I've had so many broken bones and lost so much blood. Uh, I don't know if 10 minutes could do it. I usually like to stay on here for about an hour and a half and share with you, but I might have touched upon it in another episode. But usually when I'm hurt, it's a place where I lay and I reflect. And I reflect on, you know, the things that I've been through, the things that I've overcome, the ability to be strong and come through what I might be dealing with. Half the time, the accidents were traumatic to my leg, and so I couldn't walk. So I either had to learn to walk, had the wheelchair, I had to use a potty. I mean, and the most degradation of being hurt in such a traumatic place. Now, now I'm gonna talk about it. I can talk about it. I got a little bit of time. There isn't so much I need to spend on it. If I go over time, I go over time. It's all good. Major injuries could be so psychologically embarrassing to you that, along with some of your traumas and your hurt and your pain, is almost like, why me? And if not, why me? You're so used to the traumas and the pain that when something so tragic or whatever happens to you, or you're so used to the traumas that you just embrace it. Like, I mean, for me, that's crazy. You embrace it. Because the tractor trailer truck, I like to die. And I did die. I died for at least 30 seconds to 60 seconds because I literally left my body. And see, the mindset that I was in then was in the belief of the going to heaven and all of that. So my mind had that kind of thinking going. They said I was speaking in tongues, which, if anybody knows that in the religious sect, that's supposed to be a heavenly language. They said I was calling on a word that most people call on in the religious world, and but I had left my body. I'll never forget the the scenario. The impact happened. Well, when I saw the impact coming, I had my little 10-year-old with me. My youngest king was in the car. So I was trying to steer the car away from him taking the impact. So I took the impact. I took the bulk of it. I don't know, the car spun around, and I mean, gas tank. One day I'm gonna bring some pictures and let y'all see some pictures, because we should not have survived that. We should have been dead. It was a tractor trailer truck, and I hit the tractor trailer truck in the middle of it. Like just by the grace of God, that's all I can say. The car should have took the top of the car, the roof of the car, and should have, woulda, coulda. And I'm just grateful to still be here to tell the story. But my body had an out of body experience where I went up, and I guess that's heaven, because that's what the picture that I saw. And there was hundreds of people. Now I was in a rural area in like cornfields, because I was in coming from dropping my son to college. So I was out in Michigan. We was on the Michigan highway on our way going through Ohio to get to the turnpike to go to New York. We were gonna stop in and visit my people in New York, and I saw as I elevated up, I was at a door, and there was a silhouette like an angel in white, and they wouldn't let me in. I was trying to get in the door. Now you could say it's heaven, you could say whatever you want to say. You take the scenario and do what you will with it. Was it Jesus at the door? You whatever you do with it, but it was, and I couldn't get in. They wouldn't let me in, and it was hundreds of people screaming for me to come back to earth. Keep in mind, there was no people down there other than the fire trucks, which happened to come out of nowhere. I was in cornfield, so it was all a real miraculous situation, and they wouldn't let me in. And I'm grateful because if that was me supposedly transitioning from life to the next phase, which is called death, then I wasn't ready. And the people that were screaming and hollering me to come back to earth was my awakening that I had in that tragedy, that I had a work to do and that I would so do it. That's what I got out of that, is that when I came to in that hospital after the surgeries, after the ICU, and I remember that scenario that had happened to me, I knew that I had to surrender my life to helping, and I would do whatever it took to surrender my life to helping God's people, helping people, period. But I never will forget that scenario. I literally had an out of body experience, and I went in the clouds, and I came to a door, and they wouldn't let me in. It was someone in a white silhouette. It was like an angel that you see depicted in the pictures, and they wouldn't let me in. And microseconds, how it goes, and people screaming, hundreds and thousands of people. And trust me, it wasn't no hundreds and thousands of people down there because I was in a rural area. So that was one of the most traumatic situations that I had that gave me a wake up call that my life was not finished here on earth, and that I need to so do what I'm called to do. And guess what? I so been doing it. I so have been doing it. We just had a backpack giveaway yesterday. And we gave away sneakers and backpacks, hot dogs, prime rib, burgers, drinks, chit chatted with the people. I try to make it intimate. I don't want to have a whole line of people just lining up to take something from me. No, I want it to be meaningful time with you. Sit down with your family, chat, talks. That's that healing time. Share the knowledge that I've been gifted to share to help you. And you'll be so surprised how, what a blessing, what a honor that it is. Not only is it healing for me, I'm quite sure it's healing for them, because the knowledge that I share is definitely worth hearing and healing. But that traumatic situation, that guy was saying, was the one catapult that put me in a place. Now, ever since that one, because we've had some when I was young, this is one major one that I've had in Florida. I actually had three major ones in Florida that is like okay, that's where I'm at with them. Like, really, another accident, but the trauma that I think it snapped my tib fib, crushed my ankle. So when and my ribs, my whole body was bruised because the car must have spent around a few times. And thank goodness for my 10-year-old, that the instinct of a mom, that's the mom that'll go to bat for her cubs or her, he suffered like they said a sprain, not broken scapula or something up in here. But he was down in my room the next couple of days. I think he might have stayed in his room for like 1 or 2 days till my mom arrived. But I was in ICU for 3 days. I believe my mom got there after I got out of ICU. My son, poor thing, had just got situated in college. He made it there that night. But all I could do is lay there, bruised, couldn't move, tremendous amount of pain. And you know, they keep you what? Sedated because you be in so much pain. So when I woke up, I had these metal bars coming out of my leg. It's called an external fixation. Anybody that know anything about I thought, what? And, and I wasn't supposed to be able to walk again. My ankle was crushed. Had I listened to some of the doctors that I had encountered, I probably wouldn't be walking now, but I'm the type of person that don't just let you tell me anything. So I maneuvered and did some things and found some specialists to make sure my ankle would recover because they was like, "Oh, you're good. Just be on the cane for and come back in 2 years if we got to do more surgery." No, we're not doing that. I got too much work to do here on earth left to do, and I need to be able to walk. I need to be able to get around, and I did what I needed to do so that my bones would heal, my ankle would mend back properly, and I wouldn't be on any devices. Uh, my sternum was cracked. I mean, I was one hot mess. And so much trauma and so much pain that has happened to me. All I could do is just lay there and embrace it. That's crazy. Is lay there and embrace it. Just like I did when I got hit with the bottle when I was 13 years old. 2019, 75, 76. That's crazy. But I healed. Did the nursing home thing, checked out of the nursing home because you listen. Let me tell you something about part of your healing in physical capacities. When you hurt or you have some kind of illness or ailment, be proactive in it. Don't let anybody just tell you anything. Because by the time I got from Ohio, I was in Ohio for 2 weeks in the hospital. Okay, and I got to the nursing home. Some of these nursing homes are nasty. Some of these CNNs allegedly don't want to do their job. They don't come in there. They don't clean the wounds. I caught MRSA in the nursing home. So it got so bad to me that I was like, I'm not staying here. I can go home and do this because if I didn't die in the car accident, I'm not fixing to let y'all kill me in here with no MRSA. So I literally had to do an MIA. I had to check myself out of the nursing home and go home and allow them to have a nurse to come visit me. Then I was supposed to have somebody there watching me so that they could help me go to the bathroom. I had a porta potty. Oh, it was just the determination that I had that I will not allow myself to be uh, uh, feel sorry for myself or pity party for myself. At first, I was getting the help with the porta potty beside the bed. And then the person wasn't showing up. So if I could hop to the bathroom, okay, on my own, then I don't need a porta potty. And it hurt like the dickens. But guess what? That was the beginning of knowing that, okay, this is what it's going to be. I mean, I was on a walker, I was on a wheelchair. I even cooked on the walker, even cooked on the wheelchair. I am one that choose not to give up and to not stop. I pushed through the pain. It was crazy. And it was me at that point. I believe when because Tyler was, oh Lord, calling names, didn't mean to call names. One of my kings was in the was in college, and so he wasn't home, and the two oldest ones was already out on their own. So it was just me and the young one. So therapists come to the house. The nurse came to the house. I had to have a port put in my arm. That did not stop me. I had therapy in the house. The medical bus had to pick us up and take us. And my poor king, he hated getting on that bus. They had to take him to school. Well, we dealt through all of that. We dealt through all of that. It took me maybe about a whole year because I believe I was in a wheelchair for about a year, maybe 6 months. But it wasn't my time. And being allowed and being spared that accident gave me a whole new look on life that I can deal with anything and everything. And I just continue to do the work. Okay. The good part about my healing journey was that the abuse and the some of the things that happened to me as a child, there was a point where not only was I in therapy, but my kids were in therapy, but I had my own therapist, and we did some real good work because I started taking the therapist serious. Like my mom said, if you're going to be going to these therapy places, don't be sitting in there lying, faking it until you making it. Be honest, get to the nitty gritty, let them know the truth so they can help you. And I had one real good lady that she really helped me get to the nitty. She helped me peel that onion back. So, and I would come out of there with puffy eyes. Me and my boys, we would get in our car and we would going back home. But let me tell you something, it's worth the fight to get the necessary help you need, to put the cards on the table to deal. A lot of those symptoms and those diagnoses will go away when you start healing. Just like I said, I've been diagnosed with at least six different diagnoses. A couple of them I believe I'm completely healed from, and a couple of them, like the anxiety and the depression, surface every now and then. But I know how to handle them and deal without medication. And if I find myself in a place where something traumatic happens to me and I need the help, oh, absolutely, we'll take the medicine for a few days. I'll ask for something to help me with the anxiety because I've suffered anxiety in a real severe place at one point. But I'm not gonna be on nothing where you're gonna prescribe it to me every day because I don't need it every day. But that's just one of the accidents. One of the crazy accidents. This poor right leg has been through three dramatic. It was the 10th, the first accident. I'm not going to go into the second one, but I'm gonna tell you what part of the legs that happened. So when I was dragged by the train in 1981 or 82, whatever year that was, I was in my second year of college. I had to have a major surgery on my knee. I had the what is it called? Anti-cruciate ligament, where they had this. Back then, technology is not as it is now, so they had to cut me down my thigh on my right thigh, okay, to go in the back of the knee. So I was in a wheelchair. I was in a full leg brace, but I finished college. I refused. I went back to college in the wheelchair because it happened in the summer. I went back to college in the wheelchair. Okay. And I had my buddies, they drove me through the snow in the wheelchair to classes or whatever. I was determined not to give up. And I walked across my graduation stage with a leg brace and a cane in 1982. I'll never forget it. And that's a whole nother story with some traumatic family stuff that you'd be like, oh my God, girl, you really, really been through it, but I've come through it all. Okay, and then it was the tractor trailer, which was the tib fib in the ankle, and then recently here in 2023 was the femur bone. I'm saying what? I mean, I'm gracious that even though I have these crazy accidents, there's somebody, and we know who the somebody is, in my opinion. I feel like I have so many angels assigned to me that when the negative comes to try to take me out, the angels are on point as quick as they can be to help, because most of these accidents are very tragic in and of themselves, and I am just thankful for the grace of God that is over my life, and that the work that I am allowed to do to help others, and I continue to heal and fight through the healings. Sometimes I have days that are not the greatest because something surfaces that I've been through and it needs to come out, and it might just hit me. And guess what? I might sit on the bed and start crying, and like, what you crying for? And I'm not going to say I don't know, and I might say I don't know, but I know. I know. If you find yourself sometimes just you break out in a cry, they like to put titles on them. Oh, what is it called when women get of a certain age? Oh boy, what is it called? Because that's not what mine is. Absolutely is not. It is healing. I'm healing. So something triggered something, and I'm healing because I continue to do the self work. I do what I need to do because the mind, the emotions, the feelings, the soul are in healing motion. Okay? And so I just might have a moment or something just might remind me. I'm not a TV watcher, so I don't watch TV. If my TV is on, it's a game show or a court show or maybe a sport. I'm a sport. I raised four kings. I watch sports. I believe in the sports. I watch the what is it? The football, the basketball, boxing. That me and my dad was big into boxing. So things like that might trigger a moment or something, but it's okay. It's okay because I'm not where I used to be, and I'm not who I used to be, and I am who I am today. And I'm just grateful to be able to sit here and share with you. That healing isn't pretty, but it's worth it. So you've been tuning into ah, let's talk with Jazzy Wanda. I got an affirmation for you that I'm gonna share with you, and I close with one of my favorite sayings, and I should know it by heart. I shouldn't have to read it, but I just would like to say this: you're healing even when it hurts. You're whole even when you feel broken. You're walking through the fire and you will come out refined. Let's say that one more time. And I'm going to say it as me. I am healing even when it hurts. I'm whole even when I feel broken. I'm walking through the fire and I will come out refined. You know what? These episodes may be a healing and a help to you. You better bet your bottom dollar they are a healing and a great help to me. And this is what I always close with. You are worthy of infinite abundance. You're a beacon of confidence and success. You deserve happiness. Everything you desire is flowing to you now. Stay tuned and be blessed. See you on Tuesday night. Until next time,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
don't forget to subscribe and follow. Facebook,
You
I'm
gotta
needing help
choose your
over there on
side. You
Facebook.
gotta
I need you
choose
to
your side.
go and like my Facebook
Let's
page.
do it.
Let's talk with Jazzy Wanda
Uh-huh. I
so that
said
I
let's
can
do
start
it.
going live on Facebook,
Mhm.
TikTok,
I said it's conflict
Instagram,
in all areas, nigga. You choose
YouTube,
the side. You could win and you
Bravo,
could lose, nigga. It's
Twitch,
do or die.
Twitch,
Energy don't lie, it
all of
just
it.
testify
Subscribe.
for what they saying. I just look them deep into their eyes, going
Let's
against the
talk
God in me.
with
Now
Jazzy
that's
Wanda.
suicide.
She got a
Higher
lot to
self,
talk about.
higher level, higher wealth. To move like this, you gotta put your pride upon yourself. They say money is power, but knowledge way stronger.
If what you say is true, the Shaolin and the Wu-Tang could be dangerous. Do you think your Wu-Tang sword can defeat me?
They say money is power, but knowledge way stronger. My soul pure gold, so I live way longer. My mind think righteous, yeah, my bloodline chosen. My energy is positive, words unspoken. I'm so illuminated. I shine brighter than Illuminati. Walking on water, now they really know I'm God body, gifted from birth. So the life I face is hard body. Had so much love in my heart, they had to apply pressure. Now I'm a fine diamond, yeah. Said I'm a fine diamond.
Shaolin shadow boxing and the Wu-Tang sword style.
No matter how hard they try, I found myself in divine timing. Now they follow what I say like my name Simon. Led the chosen ones to victory in divine timing. The time is near, the signs are clear. 144, activation is here. We rise in the vibration with no fear. Oh, the Thundercats we all hear. And now it just don't seem fair. It just don't seem fair.